Gonna back away outside of this door. But here comes Intel. They've arrived on the scene, and a quick black hole gonna lock these players down. And it's a Vizio on the receiving end of the Intel aggression. His blitz has already been taken out. Borton knocked as well as the PK doing work here for Impulse. Now they're looking for one final player here. That door's going to get closed. One player trapped on the outside as Vizio has been eliminated, and now it's Intelligence's turn. His dodge has been taken out.
The day that I stopped casting this game.
Oh, okay. We'll see where that goes, but we are going to World's Edge right now. SAF and Tyson with wins in the first two, and we'll have to see if we get a repeat here in Game 3. Maybe XSET can finally get past the finish line here. They've been the bridesmaids so far in this first half, but they're looking for their own ring here.
What does that mean?
In Game 3. It's just
Explain
like
that to me.
Always being second place, right? You're never the one.
Oh.
You're never the one, you know, at the altar. You're always
That's
the
okay.
bridesmaid.
Weddings are expensive. Anyways, Intel 2v2 at this current point. We'll see if this time they can pull this one off. James Fearless healing a little bit up there, but Impulse is completely fully removed. We know for a fact that's a shield reset, but they are grouped up together around this door. Break on through the other side, but before they can even do that, Mooney takes a chunk of damage. They run around the corner, but the return with the PK, it doesn't quite find the knock, but Snoopy finally
did it!
There you go! Intel with the win here in Game 3.
Intel finally did it. They'll have to get the res onto Impulse, but that should be just fine. There's a beacon very nearby, just to their north, and Intel finally able to get it done. And the big key was James Fearless with that PK. That initial 100-point just slap as the Valkyrie came around the corner totally changed the complexion of that fight. And Intel finally get the start they were looking for. James Fearless with 3 KP to kick it off, and this is the Intel we're used to in these early games.
Yes, finally, a level of aggression that has been well and recognized from this roster, not just here in, say, Qualifiers Season 5, but Season 4 as well. The identity that we've been waiting for, and hopefully this is the start of it, right? We go into not just Game 3, but the rest of tonight with an Intel that reminds us, gives us a little bit of nostalgia here, as, of course, they bring back the full roster. Of course, though, something that isn't changing is our pull towards the south. For now, though, Lazarus in a fight of their own here out towards Big Mod. The drop down Psycho Kane as well. One last standing, and I love the position from the high ground. One quick peek. Inspector are down as well.
Yep, Lazarus claiming Big Mod here very early on in this game and claiming 3 KP for themselves. That's the start that they're looking for. A team that has been, you know, doing solid so far tonight, but they've kind of got Season 4 Excedrin syndrome, where they're struggling to get into those top 5s. And
are we making references to Series E now? This is what we do?
Yep.
You gotta explain them. You gotta explain them for the fans, man.
That's why I elaborated, where they're struggling to get into the top 5 in these games.
You know, you didn't say it quick enough. My brain
I literally
frazzled.
immediately thought, you know what? I'm about to walk out in production. I'm just going to mute you myself. I have the power.
See, this is the terrifying thing when your caster is in-house.
Yep. It's okay. Connie will protect you. You don't have to worry. He wouldn't allow me.
I don't know. I feel like if it was funny enough, Connie would do it.
For the memes. We're all... You folks at home couldn't hear that, but Connie definitely just popped into our ears and said, of course I would do that. I would definitely allow Yeso to abuse his power.
All right. The kids at home, they care about Apex, Yeso. Right?
Are you sure? I thought they were just here for us.
Hopefully in the future. That's the dream.
Maybe. But Vizio is looking for the dream here. A team that has had a bit of a rough go here through the first 2 games of tonight. And we'll have to see if they can get something rolling right now. Of course, we were talking earlier on about Sung bringing out the Bloodhound once again. It was an adjustment they made last night that worked very well in the second half on Stormpoint. I guess the question for me will be, does, you know, the more they play it, do they learn, hey, maybe the Bloodhound is just a Storm Point pick, maybe not a World's Edge pick, and there's a different composition that we prefer to use on World's Edge? We'll have to see. Of course, you know, they'll continue to learn and figure that out as they continue to play. But we jump over to Xset here, just north of this next zone, and they're on the hunt, and that's a seer. Okay, that's a habitat. That's something you see super often as the defensive bombardment comes out from playing, and they're looking to just clean up this squad.
Yeah, damage found there. Finally, the first drop onto nades of all people. This is Razor tackled against the wall. Blakeu as well. Box to T. Where might they be here? Xset, they don't care. They've already sealed the deal as they start to make their way inside the cave. And there you go. The final elimination through and through is Razor once again, falling fairly early on. But you know what I like? Even though it hasn't been a successful season thus far for Razor, they're playing. They're trying to mix it up, work with something new. Obviously, we see the habitat there, which gives us the notion that they're working with a seer on that roster, and I'm all for it, right? Try to find something that sticks when the paint isn't drying.
For me, Razor feels like, you know, and I think a good analog for like fans of League of Legends esports will be the kinds of teams. but if you think of League of Legends esports, a lot of those worst teams are the squads that kind of they get behind early and then they just kind of wait until they eventually lose in the late game. And it feels like what Razor is doing is they're not being that team that just lets leads happen and slowly get bled out. Here's Lazarus taking this fight, and they'll wipe out Blood Vikings. But Razor very much does not feel like that team that just gets bled out in games. They just wait to lose. It feels like they're pushing the boundaries, trying to find things that work. They're experimenting and trying to make things happen. And I think in the long run, that will benefit them because they're just trying to kind of sharpen steel with steel here, and I think it's going to see you know, signs of improvement and signs of success as the season continues. So I very much like that from Razor.
I think it's something, I mean, obviously we're here to peddle Series E and build up a lot of these narratives, but at the end of the day, this is a really crucial point of practice for a lot of these squads to get upper level comp experience, especially in the face of things like ALGS. And so for squads like Razor, who obviously go by optimal ambition outside of this, I mean, this is where they find that improvement that can garner them something of a future. Meanwhile, Tyson here doesn't look like they have much of a future left. Pressured out, Hakulo, Xset making short work of this roster. Fury poked as well. It's up to Joey to finish the job. Meanwhile, Esports Arena flying in here. They're the ones who pick up the final kill. Come on, guys.
Xset, you thought you were getting that 3KP. Team Esports Arena says, psych, they've come in and they want a part of this. Scissors, though, with the ring having closed around them, is going to get knocked, and it's now just down to Phony and the Force Hunter here. They're going to get back into the zone to stop that damage ticking away on their health bars, but it doesn't appear they're going to have any shot at picking up Scissors right now. They're just going to run for the hills, and Xset should be able to quickly claim that KP and keep it rolling.
Oof. Well, for Esports Arena here, and no interest picking up that banner, obviously, and they'll have to pull this one away. Well, I'll see how they fare as they make their way into us. Obviously, a last-minute kind of fill-in tonight. Still fairly entertaining, but I obviously love to see them whenever they do show up here. For Nerf, once again, playing a bit of the outskirts of Dome, similar to what we saw in Game 2 here. Obviously, on the other end, have a little bit of a problem trying to play into the very, very edge. Maybe an entrance here into launch site, but shots are still being found. Cracks are broken. Shields are down. Come on, Nerf. Make your move.
We're getting accents from Zephyr today as Messiah pushing up for the high ground. The bubble is going to come down, and that'll buy at least a little bit of time. And Nerf going to elect to back off here as they'll just head inside for cover a little bit. Messiah going to hit the battery, and they just have to be careful that they don't get pressured from multiple angles because they're pretty exposed out in this area. It's not difficult for teams to just establish a bit of high ground nearby and just fire down on these players. So they back away. They're going to top off their health here. And it looks like they seem to be a little bit more concerned on getting a more northern rotation at this point to get a bit of a safer spot here as we jump back to Team Esports Arena. The respawn will time out for Scissors, so ESA stuck with the two-man for the rest of Game 3 here. And with 15 squads remaining, they've got a long ways to go to pick up some significant placement points.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, since they're 50-50 right now between, like, Space Station Gaming, I think I'm going to call them, like, Esports Station. Yeah, I think that's funnier.
Oh.
Team Esports Station.
Okay.
With Xenial.
I mean, hey.
That adds no flavor, no macro knowledge, nothing.
No.
It's just, for my own entertainment.
Just make Zephyr giggle, so he'll do it. He is a simple man, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you what.
One day I'll be living in a big old city, and all you're ever gonna be
it's fun.
is
I
me.
love casting with Jamerson because I get karaoke in between on camera time, and now I get the on-camera karaoke from you, Zephyr. So it's got to be a wonderful combo when you two are together.
Oh my gosh, Jamerson. Okay, well, I know we're supposed to be talking. Obviously, there's a lot happening on the game, but I will say this.
Very exciting on-screen action right now.
Shut up. Jamerson's incredibly qualified. That
Yes.
man brings an incredible source of knowledge to this game, and I think it is fairly underrated at times. So it is a very fun
pro,
cast,
as I would say. He is a pros pro. That guy. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
He's very
100%.
fun. He does a great job, and he's also, he's got a good singing voice. So I'll give him that. I was very surprised to learn that, casting with him a few weeks back during qualifiers. But let's get back to business here.
Yeah. Here we go.
It's Xset on the western edge of Dome, and they're hunting for some kills here. Watson is set up in this building. Could be start a fight. That's one of the other teams, other than Tyson, that we have seen running the Watson here today, but they seem to have no desire to push through those Watson traps and have just turned around and said, hey, there's somebody else outside here. Let's go find them.
Well, find what they may or will. Haven't quite broke this one down just yet, but if there's a squad who can do it, inevitably it'll be Xset. Granted, zone pull here leads me to believe that Dome won't be the place of play, but for Intel, maybe it'll be their place of rest here. Impulse, James Sears, Mooney, all broken. Gonna have to take some time. You can see, I believe, defensive bombardment coming down there. This is gonna force the rotation back for now here. We hugging the side, playing this one a little bit low and slow, but it doesn't bode well for the rotation.
So the pings from Fearless indicate they maybe want to rotate out of the zone to get back behind kind of the eggshell here. So they had to wait for the heals for Impulse because Impulse was, a tick away from going down if they stepped out of the zone.
Oh,
but they've run right into another team. Oh no, it's all going wrong right now for Team Intel. They're going to have to get these heals off very quickly as the defensive bombardment comes down as well. It's Team Esports Arena gating this push as the black hole will come out. Phony will just barely get out of range of that before the pull activates there. They're going to retreat to the safety of the tunnel. So thankfully for Intel, it was just a two-man, so their safety was easier to secure, but that almost went just disastrous for Intel.
Right. I mean, any other squad with a little bit more prep and obviously the numbers advantage, and that would have been it for Intel pressuring into a situation like that. But obviously, they are allowed to survive for now. The question, though, of course, being that they're going to have to be making their way a little bit out towards that western area, which is so open. It is so difficult. This hillside outside of launch site is just nasty. Meanwhile, Lazarus on the interior here of Dome, been playing this for quite some time. Nice break found. Dome out. A little bit of the 50-50 play. Arcstar thrown. This will push them back here. But remember, they're the ones in control of where the zone pulls. It's last remaining inkling of Dome right now.
Xset looking really good in this third game as we jump over to Intel. And it seems like they finally chased down Esports Arena. Zenile going to get taken out. Phony is still alive. And I think we can maybe see him on our screen just running away in between all of those rocks. So ESA now down to one player. Meanwhile, Kimchi Lee and the Excedrin squad getting some eliminations there as Kimchi's going to take down It's Blake. And the chaos continues here on the western edge of Dome. as Xset just want to, deny these teams that want to rotate out of the area, because those final circles are not going to be here, and it seems like these squads maybe want to get out of the area, and Xset wants to deny that rotation for as long as possible. As we jump over to Vizio here.
Oh. Vizio's in a good source of control, obviously, with this a little bit of high ground advantage, playing, slow on the launch side, and they get to catch a lot of these rotations, but meanwhile, Excedrin are eliminated, and that's fairly early on when we talk about the points that you're able to pick up. Meanwhile, Phony caught out by James Fearless. Intel do chase that one down and finish the job, as, of course, Lazarus and Xset in the midst of their own fight outside of Dome.
Intel doing Intel things. They're picking up the KP here, and now we'll just have to see if they can put the finishing touches on this game, as all of a sudden RCO have stepped into the picture. They've knocked G7 Dank and Haculo, so pressuring two different squads here. They're set up towards the southern edge of this zone. Also important to remember is Tyson very quickly learned in last night's competition, there is some new out-of-bounds restrictions here at the southern edge of the map that you need to be very, very careful about. They learned the hard way last night, and some teams may do the same here as we jump up over the Intel, and that's the massive shots here from Fearless. Going to get up to the red Evo, and they're going to take out DSO0, and James Fearless has reclaimed kill leader as Intel is now into the top 7.
Finally here, Intel looking so much stronger after just being able to secure the 50-50 in the early game. This is more of the entity that we've come to know over time here. Now, Vizio outside, playing the very, very edge of your major launch site building here towards the south, just holding this one. Certified BMers, one of the few entities actually inside on the other end, might be coming through and pinch this squad out.
And they got the Kraber here, and they're looking to push into this bubble, and it's Intelligence inside here as Dutch is going to go down. Toy Story is going to miss that first shot. Will hit the reload, and they're going to back away outside of this door. But here comes Intel. They've arrived on the scene, and a quick black hole going to lock these players down. And it's a Vizio on the receiving end of the Intel aggression as Blitz has already been taken out. Borton knocked as well as the PK doing work here for Impulse. Now they're looking for one final player here. That door's going to get closed. One player trapped on the outside as Vizio has been eliminated. And now it's Intelligence's turn as Dutch has been taken out. Knee Reaper as well. And Trap Lord follows, and Intel is running rough shot over this whole lobby as certified BMers have finally arrived on the scene. But will they just be walking into their death, because Intel cannot seem to miss right now?
And at this point, certified BMers, they have to pull back inside. This is a crucial reset for Intel to work with. Potentially going to give them the opportunity to take down not just 2 squads on the outskirts here of launch site, but potentially 3. Intel able to hug up clean through. Meanwhile, on the other end, this open area from Dome, looks like RCO just finished off here. Lazarus on the back end of that fight now healing up. I like the fact that they've been playing this one low and slow. This can be a really nasty area to work with here, so you have to play this exposure to exposure to exposure here. But we're down to our final 4 squads. Start a fight. Lazarus, of course, you have Intel on the very, very edge of launch site and certified BMers.
This is going to be a fun one, and Start a Fight continue to roll here tonight as they're into another top 4. Good shot there from the wingman, but not quite enough to take out James Fearless. And now, I actually think that Certified BMers are in the more rough position, because both SAF and Lazarus can free fire on this spot. And Intel still wants a piece of Certified BMers, is using those Valkyrie jets. Getting up into this fight is Impulse, and Intel has retaken control of the outside of this launch site building. They pick up a few more KP, and they are just rolling over this lobby. It's just SAF and Lazarus that stand between them and a win here in Game 3.
Toy Story, the last one standing for certified BMers, but I like the rotation from Intel. They got a lot more problems on their plate. Obviously, they want to finish the job here, but looking at that zone, it is directly on Mini Dome here. And the thing is, Lazarus have done a great job on their rotation to take complete control of this back area. Start a fight, though. just taking their time, finally just beginning to put out shots as, there you go, Intel finish off Toy Story, bring us down to our final 3.
So, the analyst in me wants to say, yep, Lazarus and SAF set up in better positions for the win. But this is just vintage Team Intel though, and they look to be so well on their game that they could pull a win out of even the toughest position right now. They've got full red Evos. They seem well set up to grab victory here from possibly the jaws of defeat. We'll have to see what they can do, but all 3 of these teams set up around Minito, and we'll have to see exactly what happens. James Fearless going to get off that bat. Impulse going to try and get a little bit of high ground, maybe see if he can get some shots, and so clean. The wingman, they're able to tap GS Bird for 63 damage, and they may opt to push Lazarus here first. This is such a tough position with this circle pushing further to the south, and they're looking to get damage onto Lazarus, and it looks like SAF maybe agrees. They've pushed Lazarus so close to SAF that Intel may have set themselves up. They've pushed Lazarus into giving Intel the third party here, because now SAF and Lazarus are going to fight.
They don't full send that fight. They put pressure down to send them right up back against the wall here. Take complete zone control of the dome. This will likely force the fight here between Start a Fight and Lazarus, and maybe give Intel that opening that mean. You talk about a tough position. Well, with a turnaround like this could be the potential for the win here. Everyone's so close.
A lot of damage there on the Matt Pickett. Has to back away and go for the heal. That's the black hole out from James Fearless. Do they have any utility to follow? It doesn't appear so. So it's just going to buy some time. I kind of wish James had held on to that black hole. But, you know, ultimately it just continues to cause chaos between these 2 teams. And Lazarus and SAF so very close to each other. I mean, Intel's got to feel so safe right now. They just need to bide their time. They just wait for the knocks. They know that it's coming. SAF and Lazarus going to fight here soon. Fearless going to just throw down damage when he can. They're just poking and prodding as that's an Arc Star nearby. Vize has to climb up to some higher ground to buy some time. Meanwhile, back up to the high ground is Impulse, as Aves is going to get the knock there onto Vize, and the action is on its way. Matt Pickett with essentially no meds here will go down so quickly. Bubble's going to go down from SAF. That'll buy a little bit of time. Defensive bombardment out here as well. Mooney about to have his. That is such a key cooldown that could completely change this end game. Beaming with the R301. Fearless going to have to get some health off here, but it's got to be quick. Defensive bombardment. Here comes onto the rock. Here comes Team Intel. There's one knock, and they're looking for more. They are returning to the form we saw from them all season long. Last time around, just a few players remain. Lazarus has been eliminated. SAF soon to follow, and Team Intel is back on top.
Finally, Intel here with a win we have been waiting for. This, as you've said, is the memory, the season for Intel that we knew, that we decided deserved roles like things like MVP and an absolute dominant lead overall. It feels good, Yeso.